Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Recently, two news came into notice. The first one is the absolutely incomprehensible policy of the government, which is going to raise the immigration level to a record high. And the plea taken is such a specious plea that one cannot imagine whether to laugh at the almost comical action or to feel sad. And the second is that some families shifted from Toronto towards North Ontario and have claimed racial discrimination. Is that possible? Does that happen? And is there a connection in the two announcements? Let's first take up Canada's plan to increase immigration, the new roadmap being prepared in the post corona period is possibly the boldest plan in the modern history, especially when a disaster, a pandemic, is afflicting the country, especially when the economy is the bottom of an abyss, and then the cabinet, the prime minister, the finance minister, the immigration minister say that increasing the number of the newcomers will bring the country at the record level to stimulate economic recovery. Stimulate? According to the immigration minister, we are at the unique juncture in the Canadian history. We are facing the challenge. Fine, we are. But what is step being taken to meet that challenge? The 21-23 immigration plan submitted to the parliament says that Canada will welcome 1.2 million new immigrants in the new year, in the next 3 years. 1.2 million. That means the annual intake in 2020 would be 400,000 plus, about 1,000 more than 400,000. In 22, it will be 411, and in 23, it will be 421,000, which is equivalent to 1% of the population. Now you are importing 1% of the population with the people who are not an economic asset, who will be a burden to the society. Now the cake is already small. Unemployment is raging. People are leaving their homes to go to cheaper places. And you think bringing in more people, some of them might be parasites and might be needing the public welfare, which majority do. And then this is not counting the refugees who will be coming and with welcome hugs and kisses. No, this is a bona fide immigrants supposed to work and they are working, but then where are the jobs? The previous multi-year plan unveiled before the onset of the pandemic in March. It's not much time. In March, they gave the target of 351,000 in 21 and 361. Why increase of 100,000 within a period of 6 months to the first plan? Was the first plan concocted in a dream that you want to convert that dream into a nightmare? No, imagine it. The people in Ottawa, the Mentors, think that getting more people increases the economy. Does it? Today, the jobless rate, the unemployment rate is at 9%. It was 13.4% in May, and before pandemic it was 5.6%. So from 5.6% it goes to 13.4%. And now they want to bring in more people when the jobs are not there. When the pie is already too small, they want to make it smaller. How is the government on the right track? I fail to understand. The result would be the taxes will increase because most of the people who come would not have the right experience, would have no Canadian experience, and they will be given the welfare, adding to the burden on the Canadians who are already overburdened with their refugees. Now comes the second issue, racial discrimination. When, say, let's assume you are a family of about 10 people, husband, wife, maybe married son with his children and a married daughter with her children. I'm saying it, and you work hard and bring money in. Then in the evening, you take your meals and still thank God that the meals are there. And then about five more people arrive to partake of that meal. The result, your children would go hungry. Should you welcome those five people or tell them, look here, we are thankful to you for coming, but now we are not available to meet you. That should be the sensible approach. But no, you say, you come on, feel it as your home. This is what the government of India, Canada is doing. Welcoming others when your own people are going hungry. The number of the homeless people it is increasing. Now the question is, what happens? What's the reaction to the family? The family would feel resentment towards you, but they will have more resentment against the newcomers. And they would always be finding an opportunity to harm them, criticize them at every corner, at every turn of the events. Maybe the newcomers are not at fault. You invited them. But the people who have suffered are fully justified in venting their angers on the newcomers who have been a burden to them, who have taken away their bread. You share your bread when you can assuage your hunger. If you are yourself hungry, you don't share it. Charity begins at home. And here is the government saying, okay, we know we are in a recession. We know unemployment is falling. We know our exports are falling. We know we are in pandemic. We know more and more people are being added to welfare. But we hope that if more people come, we'll have more opportunity. It's exactly like the people in South Asia saying, the more we are, the better it would be because God sends a child with one mouth to eat and two hands to work. They forget that two hands will start working after 15 to 20 years, not immediately. But mouth would be opening to eat the moment it is there. Now, this is a psychological thing. So when more people come in to share your pie, you feel resentment and you feel that you are being discriminated against. Result, you discriminate against the newcomers. And then you blame the original family. The original inhabitants are being narrow minded, being xenophobic, and discriminating against the poor people. No, they are fully justified in discriminating. And then media adds to the issue. When I was reading the news, I saw that it was a South Asian family which shifted to the north, and they were a couple of families only, and they were insulted, and the people will throw coffee in their lawn, and they will not pick up the dog poop. Let me tell you, 90% of that would be bullshit. I was living in Mississauga for 15 years. Then I shifted to Innisfil, not exactly north, but midway between north and Toronto. I was the only Indian in the community, only brown skinned and the white skin, only turban bearing people. So marked out with my turban, with my accent. And would you believe there was no discrimination against me? I was accepted with open arms. I was invited. People were friendly, helpful. They didn't discriminate me because I was not a share of their pie. When the people go there and try to impose their values, say, suppose I had gone there and instead of participating and celebrating Christmas, I'd start, no, we'll celebrate only Diwali and I will not wish you Merry Christmas. What the reaction would have been? I would have been ostracized. I would have been criticized. So these Indians who go there are say Pakistanis. They are South Asian, they can either be Indians or they can be Pakistanis. Sri Lankans are Bangladeshis. Only these four categories. And they want to create a different society rather than merge in that. That's an issue. And then create a different society. There's no harm in that. But don't be opposing. The typical way I've seen the South Asians, and I understand it, these Goras, these whiteys, and they see the whiteys with contempt while trying to ape and copy them in everything. The first thing they'll condemn is their mode of dress and their mode of movement. And then they want to ape it. Hypocrisy unlimited. But I'm not concerned with it. I'm more concerned with the racial discrimination. When you go to a new area and you try to be a burden on the civic structures, then you would be looked at with suspicion. And that's what happening to the South Asians. First, they come there wanting to be useful members of society. Then nature takes its own toll and they move away, go to a new era. There, the already unemployment is there. So the newcomers, especially when they are looking, behaving in a different way, would raise some suspicion. A known devil is always better than an unknown devil. And especially that unknown devil when you are trying to make both ends meet. Now, if you do not increase immigration, that sense of heart burning would not be there. That sense of entitlement of the newcomers would not be there. Now there is sense in the original inhabitants that these newcomers have a sense of entitlement. We usually term white supremacy. I would call that the days of white supremacy have been replaced with days of black and brown supremacy. And the politically correct attitude, Rather, the cheap bantering attitude of the government and the political parties is responsible for that. And then the governments wake up to the reality when it's too late. This is not the time to increase immigration. Already, the social structure is floundering. Let's not add to the burden. We are adding to the economic burden. We are adding to the burden of the infrastructure that is available. And the newcomers who come would not take kindly to the Canadian values. It takes time to adjust. I'm not blaming them. When you are transplanted, you take some time. So let the government wake up and rather say, okay, for the next 3 years, there'll be no immigration at all. We can review the situation if the situation improves. But having not only immigration but increased immigration is hitting yourself. It's in fact an act of harakiri. It's a social suicide, it's an economic suicide, it's a political suicide. I don't know why the political leaders suffer from a death wish for their culture, for the society. Would they ever wake up and realize that they are being absolute examples of nincompoops? Sometimes I wonder, why cannot they see the dangers present and lurking beneath their policies that almost border on, well, I was going to say lunacy, but let me say ineptitude. And the sooner they realize, the better it shall be for the country, for the society, for them, and for all of us. Think about it. Thank you.